Okay, so with fractions, I always talk to the children about something called the Frycle, or the fraction cycle, and that's when they're finding fractions of a quantity. For example, the quantity here is 20, and step 1 of the Frycle, the fraction cycle, is to take your quantity and divide it by whatever your your denominator is. In this case, 20 divided by 4 will give you, and I tell the children to put it just here, will give you 5. Step 2 is to take that first answer, so step 2 of the Frycle, take that first answer and multiply it by the numerator. Well, when the numerator is 1, that's quite simple. 5 times 1 will give you 5, and that's how you find a quarter of 20, how you use the Frycle to find the fraction of a quantity. Step 1, take your quantity, divide by the denominator, which will give you a number. And then step 2 of the Frycle is to multiply that number by the numerator, giving you your answer. I can show you that Frycle again, that fraction cycle. So that was for a quarter, sorry. Let's look at, for example then, a third. What is a third of 15? Take the quantity, step 1 of the Frycle, step 1 of the fraction cycle, divide. So 15 divided by 3, that will give you 5, funnily enough. Step 2 of the Frycle, multiply your first answer by the numerator. 5 times 1 will give you an answer, funnily enough, of 5. But what about when that numerator is no longer a 1? Well, let's look at this example. 3 quarters of 16. Step 1, exactly the same. Take your quantity, divide it by the denominator. 16 divided by 4 will give you 4. Step 2 is to take that 4, multiply it by the numerator. This time the numerator is 3. 4 times 3 gives you an answer of 12, and that's the final part of the Frycle. It doesn't change. We can look again at another one. So we were looking at thirds a moment ago. Let's try 2 thirds, and let's find 2 thirds of 30. The skill set is exactly the same. Step 1 of the Frycle, take your quantity and divide by the denominator. 30 divided by 3 will give you 10. Step 2 of the Frycle, the fraction cycle, take your 10 or your number, multiply it by the numerator, which in this case is 2. 10 multiplied by 2 will give you 20. And that's how you find fractions of a quantity using the Frycle. And it doesn't matter how big this number gets or how much these numbers change, the fraction cycle is exactly the same. Step 1, divide by the denominator. Step 2, multiply by the numerator. Never changes.